This lesson is on the application of linear inequalities, which is being able to take a real life scenario and actually write an inequality from it and then solve. Our first application has to do with the United Delivery Service, and it has some restrictions on the size of the package that it will deliver. So in reading over the question, some things that kind of jump out at me is that it will not deliver a package if its height plus girth or circumference around the widest part is more than 130. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, they've made it very easy for me to sort of set up an equation here, height plus circumference. And normally I would say is more than or greater than 130. But notice this is all the ones that they will not deliver. So if I read on through the question, we're trying to figure out how high the package is permitted to be, which means if this is all the stuff that it won't deliver, then the less than or equal to is all the stuff that it will deliver, and that's the stuff that I'm really concerned about. So now let's see if we can plug in some information. We're trying to find the height, so that's going to be my variable. So I'm going to set h equal to height. 8 is going to be the height of the package. The circumference, or the girth, is the circumference around the widest part. We know that the package seems to be rectangular, so if we look at a cross section, we know that it's 33 inches wide and 8 inches long. So it would kind of look like this. So basically I want to find the perimeter of that. So the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, or vice versa. I guess I said it in the wrong order. Same idea. And when I end up solving this, I'm going to find all of the heights that my package can be. So height plus 66 plus 16 is less than or equal to 130. I'm going to combine these two together because they're on the same side. So height plus 82 is less than or equal to 130. I'm going to subtract that from each side. And on this side it cancels out and I get h. I keep this the same because all I've done is subtract. Over here I get 48. So then I would say the height of my package could be less than or equal to 48 inches. So height, I'm not going to take the time to write all of the sentences because I don't want this to be a 20-minute video. So height is less than or equal to 48 inches. Next, we have a medium onion ring and a 16-ounce chocolate shake. It's making me very hungry. The onion rings have 19 grams of fat, so we have one order of onion rings. That's 19 grams of fat. And the shake has 23 grams of fat. And I'm also going to have some cheeseburgers, and if each cheeseburger has 13 grams of fat, so this each word kind of is a key for us. We know that we're going to take 13 times the number of cheeseburgers that I have. And how many cheeseburgers did I have? I don't know. That's my unknown. So x is the number of cheeseburgers. So if I take 19 grams of fat from the onion rings, 23 from the shake, and 13 times the number of cheeseburgers I have, I want the fat content to be no more than 81 grams. So does that mean it could be equal to 81? Well, yes, because no more than means it could be less than that or it could be exactly that. So this is going to be a less than or equal to 81. So this is the hardest part, is to be able to write this equation. But now all I have to do is solve. So 19 plus 23 is 42. I'm going to subtract 42 from each side. And that gives me 13x is less than or equal to 39. And then I'm going to divide by 13 to get x is less than or equal to 3. Again, I'm not going to take the time to write the sentence, but I would say that I could order up to 3 cheeseburgers to keep the fat content where I want it to be. This question deals with averaging test scores and such, which is very applicable to all of you since you're all in school. So in this question, we have Beth, who's trying to earn at least a 90% average on her test in order to get an A in algebra. We are given her first 4 scores and told that she's going to take one more test, and we know that needs to average to 90 or more. So first we need to understand how averages work. To average things, we add up the total and then we divide it by the number of numbers. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus that extra test, we're going to have 5 scores. So that means I'm going to take 97 plus 82 plus 89 plus 99 plus my score I don't know, and divide it by 5, and that needs to be 90 or more. So that has to be greater than or equal to 90. So 90 or more tells us greater than or equal to. To solve, we're going to combine all of this on the top, and that combines to 367 plus x, don't forget your plus x, divided by 5 is greater than or equal to 90. To solve, I start on the side with the x but furthest away, so I undo divided by 5 by multiplying by 5. That gives me 367 plus x. Notice this side, these just canceled. A lot of people want to distribute that 5, but really it's just getting divided by, or canceled out by the 5 on the bottom. It's greater than or equal to 450. And then I'm going to subtract 367 from each side, and I get x is greater than or equal to 83. So my sentence would say, Beth could receive an 83 or better on her 5th test and still get her 90%. So remember, all of the scores could be greater than 83, or they could be exactly 83. This next one is a little bit different than the others because this one we are actually given a function that tells us what the water level is. So we could have figured it out given the information in this first sentence that it's 7.2 feet and it's decreasing at a rate of 0.05 feet per day. So this is the starting water level, and it's being decreased by 0.05 times the number of days. So in this case, though, they've already done that for us. So now we're just going to use that to answer the question, for which days after the beginning of the drought will the water level be less than 6 feet? So the water level, which is given to us in this function, needs to be less than 6 feet. So this one was actually probably one of the easier ones to write the equation, as long as you can get past all of the words and everything. I'm going to subtract 7.2 from each side. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to add 7.2 because of this minus, but keep in mind that the minus, if I keep flip change, actually goes to the 0.05 times d. So when I subtract 7.2 from each side, I get negative 5 hundredths and negative 1.2. So typically I'd be a little bit concerned if I had negatives in a question like this because I know I'm dealing with a number of days. But since I have a negative on both sides, I know when I solve it by dividing that I'm going to end up with a positive because a negative divided by negative is a positive. So on this side I have d, and on this side I have positive 24. And because I've divided by a negative, my inequality flips around, which actually makes it make a lot of sense because the question says, for which days after the beginning will the water level be less than 6 feet? Well, we know that the water level is going to continue to decrease and decrease and decrease. So starting just past day 24 is when we need to be concerned about the water level being less than 6 feet. So obviously less or greater than or equal to 24 days after the drought begins would be our answer. Make sure that you're labeling and writing your sentence. This last one is for you to try on your own. It mimics one of the other questions that we did, so press pause, give it a try, and then press play to see how you did. This one is an averaging question again. We're still looking for that 90%, which is our A. In this case, we have 5 tests with 1 left to go, which means 6 tests total. Same idea though. So I'm going to take 93 plus 90 plus 80 plus 100 plus 88 plus that last test that I don't know. I'm going to divide it by 6 this time because there's 6 tests total, 5 plus the 1 left. And it has to be at least 90, which means it could be greater than 90, that's even better, but at least 90 to get my A. So here's my equation. Again, I'm going to take all of these values on the top and I'm going to combine them together to get 451. And to solve, I'm going to start on the side with the x but furthest away, so I'm going to get rid of that divided by 6 by multiplying. And on the left, that's just going to get rid of the fraction on the bottom and leave me with 451 plus x is greater than or equal to 540. I'm going to subtract that 451 from each side, and I get x is greater than or equal to 89. So what score must she earn on her test to get at least a 90% average? She can score an 89% or better on her test and still get her A.